Alright, this is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, I'm going to share with you guys my produce haul and actually what I'll be eating this month. I'll be using all this produce plus all the produce I grow, maybe a few fill-in things that I might buy locally that I didn't get. And that's what I'm going to be eating this month as somebody who's been eating a raw foods-based diet now for the last 27 years. My diet has evolved and changed over the many years that I've been eating a raw foods diet. Many of you guys don't understand this. You know, I'm not just another YouTuber that just started eating raw foods a month ago, a year ago, even 5 years ago, right? I've been through the gamut. I've been doing raw foods, and a lot of you guys that are watching me have been alive 27 years now, right? And I've seen what happens to different people's doing different style raw food diets. And here's the thing, guys, every different style of raw food diet has its own different pros and cons, benefits and results, right? The majority of people on YouTube, in my opinion, promote a high fruit raw food diet. And that could be done actually quite healthfully, but I have also seen it done quite unhealthily, where you're just pounding in calories and it doesn't make a difference what kind of fruits you eat, and you're just cramming yourselves full of bananas and dates just to get your calories, and you're not eating enough vegetables, right? I eat a vegetable-centric raw foods diet, and even furthermore, I've started introducing some heat-processed foods into my diet, some of which actually I bought on this trip. So don't be alarmed, my diet is evolving and changing. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of labels out there. You know, what I will say is that my diet is based around fruits and vegetables, period. And the overwhelming majority of those I eat, you know, raw, unheated. But there's a few that I will heat process so that I could expand and have even greater diversity of different nutrients, vitamins and minerals and fiber, you know, than I may be able to get otherwise, especially some of those phytonutrients that I love so much. Right, and this video is just out there to show you guys like what I bought, also as a reference to me, like the prices I got this trip, some of which are insane. I know prices are going up around the world on foods and all this stuff, and I'm seeing, yes, some things are costing a little bit more at the produce terminal, but for the most part, man, the produce terminal prices pretty much staying stable. You know, if you look at my past videos, you know, I've gotten deals such as the ones I've gotten. Sometimes I've gotten some better deals this trip, right? And aside just from going to the wholesale produce terminal in Los Angeles, link down below to that video. If you haven't seen that video, I literally will teach you guys how to buy wholesale produce so you guys could save lots of money. And here's the thing, I drive 4 hours to get to the wholesale produce terminal because I believe it is worth it to me to do that like once a month. If you guys live, you know, relatively close, you might want to go even a little bit more often. To me, it's just a fun time, fun shopping experience. I never know what I'm gonna find. Some days are great and I find lots of stuff, and some days are not so good. This is more of a smaller load because I didn't see as much of organic produce, and I try to buy as much organic produce as I can. There's a few non-organic things I bought as well, and you'll learn why, and you'll also learn about the different foods that I'm eating and why, and I'll try to mention how I'll be using some of these foods into my own diet to benefit my health. Let's start going over all my stuff here. All right, so right on the top here, I got a whole case of cherries. There are actually 12 of these, and a lot of them gotten eaten on the drive and just on the trip, on the weekend trip out. So I got like 8 here, and these are cherries from Murray Family Farms, from Stephen Murray, from the farmer's market. These guys ain't cheap, guys, but I will spend money for good quality stuff. And I visited Murray Farms. I have a video hopefully coming out pretty soon on my Growing Your Greens gardening channel. I'm visiting Murray Farms, and all the Steve Murray's an exotic fruit collector extraordinaire, like fruit collector, fruit hunter. Like, he finds some really rare, cool stuff, man. And congratulations, Steve. He just got married too. Yeah, he beat me to that. All right, so anyways, yeah, I got some of his cherries. There's 3 varieties, including 2, you know, copyrighted or patented varieties that only he grows, he said. And actually, they're quite good. So I'm so glad to be having cherries in April. Now, this was kind of expensive, guys. It was like 70 bucks for like 10 pounds of cherries. But definitely, they're worth it because I'm definitely going to be looking forward to my stone fruits really soon. All right, next coming out from the produce terminal. This is from Maui Produce down there, and the produce terminal, we got basically hothouse cucumbers. We got a whole case of these. I could use these for juicing. These are also really good for spiralizing and cutting up. I really like the hothouse cucumbers because they have a non-bitter skin, And if you store them properly when they're wrapped in plastic and the ends are not too soft, make sure when you pick these at the store, guys, the ends aren't too soft. You know, they're gonna store a pretty good long time. You wanna store your cucumbers like, you know, in the warmer side. They don't like being too cold. They got cold damage and go bad quick. I mean, I think you normally should store cucumbers around 50 degrees is my kind of rough number. And yeah, 12 of these guys for 12 bucks, organic cukes. Now I could have gotten hothouse grown non-organic cukes for $8, but to me, to spend $4 more to get them organic is really important. That being said, these are hydroponic organic, which is probably honestly not a lot different than conventional hydroponic that's also grown in a greenhouse. All right, next case. This was my deal of all deals. This is what I was most excited about. I got 3 of these cases, although I'm just showing you guys one because the other 2 are already in my fridge, because I want to keep these guys good for a long time. So look at this. This is a whole case of artisan romaine, tamira, and antil lettuce, USDA organic. These guys, you might be able to find these sometimes at Costco. Actually, this is the Costco packaging on these guys, because I don't only see these at you know, health food stores. But basically these are like the ultimate romaine heart, because these are like baby romaine hearts, and these have a lot of nice weight to them. These are 5 packs, 5 lettuce heads, and they're like little compact romaines. And these are actually quite heavy. All these, I rarely eat these as salads, although I will do it because I got 3 cases. So I got basically 30 heads times 3. So I bought like 90 heads of lettuce, guys. And the main way I like to use this lettuce, like overwhelmingly 95% of this lettuce will get juice. Some of it I'll use in recipes, but 95% is gonna get juice, because I wanna encourage you guys to eat a leafy green juice. Not just a green juice, guys. I want you guys to eat a leafy green juice. Take it from me. Eating more leaves is really where it's at. That's why, you know, the leafy greens generally make up the majority of my juice whenever I can find them, and it can be hard to find. Number one, I can't find these guys, but I normally will be able to get 6 packs of organic romaine hearts, you know, at Costco or Smart and Final organic. That they usually run about $4.50 to $5. But yeah, this whole flat of 6 was $6. So literally, this was $1. This cost me $1. 5 heads of organic romaine for $1, and this is gonna make a lot of juice. And here's a tip, guys. Super secret tip. When I was going to buy these cases, there was about like 8 cases on the pallet. I lifted each case up, right? When you buy these at the store, lift them up, weigh them out. I could weigh them with my hand. I'm pretty good at doing that. You want to get the ones that are heavy for their weight. Why? They have more water content. They're more juicy, and because I'm juicing them, I want to get the most juice out of them. So I picked out the 3 cases that were the heaviest, so I got the most water content, so I could make more juice and, more importantly, save more money. Organic romaine hearts, I love them. So like this gets combined with some of the leafy greens that you'll see like later on in this video from my garden, like hardcore greens like kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, cauliflower greens, any kind of greens I'll harvest and pick. You know, mustard greens, mix in those into my juice with the base of the romaine. Also, I'll be adding some cucumbers since I have those this week, but normally I like to do straight romaine with my leaves, but I got a lot of cucumbers, so I gotta use them. All right, next coming out, we got all these tangerines and a few lemons too. We got a few varieties of tangerines. These are a mixture of different places from the farmer's market. I think these are TD Farms and like Vista. These are the Meyer Lemons. I use these for juicing normally. And we got a bunch of their tangerines that are quite seedy. They're easy to peel. Those will probably get eaten out of hand. And then we got these are Nova tangerines. And these are from the Cal Poly Pomona Farm store. These are actually quite good. They're very low acid, so these I was snacking on the way home. They don't jack up your teeth. You know, I got a message the other day, John, like my teeth are messed up on eating too much fruit and stuff. And like, yeah, that could totally happen. Happened to me. And now I have ways that I'm trying to mitigate that. One of the ways is to not eat and not go crazy on unripe citrus fruits. The best way to get the ripest citrus fruits are pick them off the tree yourself. Number 2, go to a farm or farmer's market that'll pick them riper and taste test before you buy a whole bunch of them. Because these are low acid, I'll tend to eat them, but then the other trick I'll do is I will eat these and then also take some wheatgrass powder or green powder in my mouth right after I eat the tangerines, and just put straight wheatgrass powder. You can mix it in water if you want, and then swish your mouth out with the wheatgrass powder, the greens, to kind of alkalinize your teeth right after you eat the citrus and the oranges, all right? These ranges in price, usually around about around a buck a pound, I think, for these guys in general. All right, coming out next, we got this stuff. All right, look at this. What do we got? Oh, John, you're using plastic. Yeah, well, here's the thing, guys. I buy in bulk. Plastic is the best way to preserve these guys for longer. And what these guys are artichokes. Yes, you can't eat artichokes raw. They're not very tasty raw. They're not gonna poison you. Artichokes are in the thistle family. They're good for liver detoxification. But John, fruit's good for liver detoxification. Well, I'm gonna tell you guys, artichokes good. I'd rather eat artichokes for liver detoxification than fruit personally, but that's just me. But the artichokes, this is from Ocean Mist Farms in California. Ocean Mist uses IPM, Integrative Pest Management, so they tend not to spray things on the artichokes. Plus, these are pretty hardy plants. So these are conventional, although I do prefer them organic whenever I can, but these were conventional. And artichokes, man, if you guys price them in the store, they're like $3 each sometimes. Even more, actually. These were $1 each at the 99 only store that'll get them in sometimes. So when I saw they had them in LA, I stocked up and got 12. And here's a cool thing. I could store these guys a month because these are fresh picked. They're nice and heavy for their size. They're not dehydrated. I put them in bags, wrap the bag up, and then store this in my fridge. It's like 35 degrees. These will keep good for like easily a month without any issue, with minimal degradation. So I could cook them up in the Instant Pot, and that's one of the heat processed foods that I do eat. These are very low in calories. Like this whole artichoke here is like 50 calories, so it doesn't, you know, give me a lot of calories. That's where I go to my other vegetables and fruits. But this does give me things that fruits can't give me, including special prebiotic fibers from my gut microbiome. Also, this vegetable is super high in antioxidants, more antioxidants than any other vegetable actually. So it's actually quite impressive. Plus, I loved artichokes as a child, and so just to eat them these days, I just love them. And I just eat them plain. I steam them and eat them plain. That's how I eat a lot of my heat processed food. I don't need to be saucing it up or adding mayonnaise to it like I used to do when I was a kid, or even making a avocado, you know, guacamole dressing or dip for this. No, that's gonna increase my fat calories, man. I just wanna get more vegetables in me. Artichokes for the win. So we got a 12 of them for 12 bucks. All right, next coming out, honestly, I should have bought more of these guys and I didn't. These are organic strawberries. I saw these when I first got to the terminal. They were $8 for 8 cartons. And I only bought 1 case because like, I'll see some more later. And I did see more later. And I went back at the end and I'm like, oh, we're sold out. So I got basically 8 of these for $8 and ate one on the drive home. Organic strawberries, that's basically $1 each, such a deal. Generally in these strawberries, if they're good quality for eating, I will eat them out of hand, like as a meal. I'll eat that with maybe some tangerines or other fruits. Sometimes if they're not so good quality, they get vacuum blended into a smoothie, so I don't degrade the polyphenols from the strawberries in a standard traditional atmospheric oxygen blender. This is all next level stuff. And then sometimes I'll freeze them and then use those in smoothies later. And sometimes I also will dry them and remove the extra water content out of there so they can be shelf stable. In this case, I'll probably give a couple to my parents so they could eat healthier, and I'll probably just eat these out of hand. They're actually decent eating. And they're from California too, very important. Like, I'm not a big fan of like the organic strawberries from Mexico. Always find the quality just sucks. Of course, for the best strawberries, get them at the farmer's market. But you know, just at the farmer's market alone, they're selling one of these alone at the farmer's market, I think for like $12. It was ridiculous, and I could get a whole case for $8. All right, coming out next, we got bananas. Now, we don't just have any old bananas, and actually these are not even certified organic. I could have got a case of organic bananas, which I often do. Cheapest this time was $11 for a case of like, what, 40 pounds or whatever. But this time I got these bananas, and these guys are special bananas. So these are actually the Thai bananas, and that's why they look a little bit funny. These are Thai bananas grown in Mexico. I believe they don't really ethylene gas these guys because they always ripen a little bit funny, man. They always look a little bit weird. But even though these look funny, they're actually quite good. And this case of Thai bananas was $10, and it was 35 pounds. Now, you know, I'm a banana like snob. Here's the thing, guys. Like, a lot of you guys might eat a lot of bananas and just get the Cavendish bananas. Like, I think those are trash. Like, to me, they have zero flavor. They just taste like nothing. They almost make me gag. If I eat too many Cavendish bananas, I will gag. But these guys, you know, there's like Manzano bananas, red bananas, baby bananas. They actually had Manzano bananas, actually, which I could have got too, but they had some cold damage. But these ones were looking pretty good for 10 bucks, 35 pounds. The Thai bananas, you know, they have a much more better flavor, and I'm all about getting things with good flavors, right? And I want to try to get things as naturally ripened as possible without any kind of ethylene gas. And yeah, these kind of like don't look the prettiest, and most people probably wouldn't buy them because they're big black spots, but hey, I'm gonna tell you guys, these are looking really nice and I can't wait to eat these a bit later on. So a lot of these guys I'll actually eat just plain out of hand, easy for trip food. They're nature's original candy with its own wrapper. I will also freeze these under vacuum, remove the air, and then suck the vacuum out, and then freeze them, and then these will get used for banana ice cream. And I'll tell you guys, you thought banana ice cream with Cavendish tasted good, you gotta try banana ice cream with the baby bananas, even ripe red bananas, manzana bananas, or these Thai bananas. It's like totally next level, seriously. So then I use these mostly, I'll freeze them and use them in smoothies, and I might, because I have so many of these, some of these might get dried with, so I'll remove the water so they could be used for longer term storage later. And so if you guys want to source some of your own Thai bananas, it's very hard to find at traditional grocery stores. You gotta maybe visit an Asian market. Asian markets are most likely to have the Thai bananas, and some better Mexican markets may also have them as well, but even at Mexican markets, it's gonna be pretty rare to find the Thai bananas. They're one of my favorite bananas for sure. All right, coming out next from the Wholesale Produce Terminal, also from Maui, which is the distributor. Yeah, that was a will call pickup. You can see I got 2 flats or 2 cases of the stem organic tomatoes. And look at this. This is one whole flat, 11 pounds there. Guess how much this was? $6 for 11 pounds of tomatoes. Is that insane? So I got 2 cases, 22 pounds for 12 bucks. And so I use these tomatoes. They will be used for number 1, for making soups. So I like to juice the tomatoes. You get the tomato juice, which is rich in lycopene, with the cell walls destructed, broken open, so I can get better absorption of that lycopene. And then I blend in some nuts and seeds to make a soup base, and then I'll cut up vegetables from my garden and some other vegetables that I have around, and maybe even add some mushrooms and whatnot, and have like a nice soup meal. So you could think of this, I could maybe use this as also as dressings. I like to use either the juice of the tomatoes or the whole tomatoes, blend it up into a dressing. I could use these as the base of my blended, vacuum blended salad. That I'll basically put like a pound of tomatoes in the bottom of the blender, pound of greens in there with a whole bunch of other accoutrements for my salad, blend it up into a nice blended salad so I don't have to sit there and chew my salad up. Sometimes I'll also juice these, so I'll do juice off comparisons because I have so many tomatoes, I'll juice them. And if they're starting to go bad, then I'll actually use them to make a dressing, and then I'll basically harvest greens from my garden, and then it'll basically make a kale chip that'll get dehydrated, so then I'll end up eating those later, you know, as a dressing that's dehydrated with a tomato base because I got so many. I always find a way to use like 95% of my produce. I might have a small 5% go bad sometimes, banana that went bad or something. You know, I had a couple tomatoes with bad spots I cut out and eat the rest, you know. And that's all right, that's part of the game, but all my produce, the waste scraps get composted, gets turned into soil that I use then in my garden for next season. All right, next we got coming out some cherry tomatoes. So aside from the big tomatoes that I like to use for maybe mostly juicing, I also get the small cherries. I find these are better for eating. These are organic Del Cabo heirloom medley cherry tomatoes. Each little case has 12 of these little cartons here. And if you guys price these, I think Trader Joe's is probably one of the cheapest places to buy these if they still sell them. But some of these times, some of these guys could sell for like $4 or $5 for one. Guess how much I got this whole flat for? $8, guys, less than $1 each for these tomatoes. So some of these are kind of going bad, maybe getting a bit shriveled up a little bit, get a bit wrinkly. That's all right, I'll just sort through them. And these guys will last like out of the fridge even several weeks. Don't put these guys in the fridge. Several weeks, no problem. How I will use these small tomatoes, because I got a whole bunch of them. Number 1 is drying. Oftentimes I buy way too much stuff, so then I will dry them to preserve some of the nutrients so I could use later. So my favorite way to dry these is I could remove the water content by dehydration, for example, cut these into thirds, put in my dehydrator tray, and then I have my own better than sun-dried tomatoes, because when they do sun-dried tomatoes, they may do it in direct sun, which could oxidize some of the nutrients, turn those dried tomatoes like black. A lot of the dried tomatoes, even if you find them organic, could be adding salt to preserve them. I don't do none of that stuff. I dehydrate at like 140 for a couple hours and then 118 for the rest of the time. My tomatoes come out nice and crisp, nice and red, concentrates the lycopene, and now when I want to make a recipe like a pizza sauce or like my raw food soups, I could add the dehydrated tomatoes to make the dressing thicker or the sauce thicker, and then add tons of flavor and, more importantly, a lot of nutrients as well. So yeah, 3 cases of Del Cabo certified organic tomatoes. All right, coming out next is my most expensive case of fruit I bought. I normally wouldn't spend this much money on this fruit because normally this fruit costs a lot less, but this is like the first of the season, and this is one of my favorite fruits in the world and should be your favorite fruit as well. This is actually the cactus fruit, also known as prickly pears, tunas, and these are the red ones. They also have the green ones. The green ones were less money, but the green ones weren't quite as ripe, and the green ones don't have all that nice betalain content. I want you guys to eat rich and colorful foods. I'll put a link down below to the video I made about cactus pears and how they are literally a superfood that many of you guys walk by, right? This case was 40 pounds and it was 38 bucks. So that's getting near $1 a pound, which is still way cheap, because if you go to like H-E-B in Houston, they may sell it, you know, like $3 a pound or something like that, which is ridiculous. In Asian markets around town, you know, retail might be around $1 a pound during the season, you know, at a good price. Sometimes they're just like 2 or 3 for $1. But these are one of my favorite fruits, and all these pretty much will get juiced. I will juice them, remove the seeds, and drink the nice, rich, deep-colored, betalain-rich nectar. So beneficial to have some cactus fruits in your life. Coming out next, another case of fruit. You guys can see these organic grapefruits. These are huge, guys. One whole case of organic grapefruits. I don't know how much this weighs. It's a good 25 pounds at least. 15 bucks. Grapefruits, they're not my favorite fruit. They're really acidic. They'll jack up your teeth. I figured this time I'm gonna juice them with pineapple and cucumbers to make a nice, more mild juice, so it won't be as acidic. Also, the other tip for you guys is when you juice your grapefruits, don't just extract the liquid or the grapefruit juice water. I want you guys to cut off the coloring of the grapefruit and leave all that white pith and juice the white pith as well. It'll make it a lot more rich and thick and really dilute the acid. You'll also be getting significantly more vitamin C and nutrients when you eat your grapefruits. All right, coming out next, we got 2 cases of this stuff, and this is a good deal, so I had to get 2 cases. We got a case of sun-kissed organic tangerines. Look at these. These are nice tangerines, guys. Now, these are kind of like, because they're from the produce terminal, they're picked a little bit earlier than I would like, so they're not optimally ripe. These guys will basically get peeled and used in juices. I'll probably be juicing this with a lot of cucumbers, maybe some greens out of my garden, maybe even some pineapple and ginger, different recipes. But yeah, I'm not really gonna eat these. I'm gonna eat the ones from the farmer's market, but these will get mostly juiced, and it's gonna make a lot of nice, rich juice for me to eat. This case is at least 25 pounds, 13 bucks. That's like around 50 cents a pound approximately. All right, got a few more things before the landscapers up the street just started. We got a case of wholesome organic cucumbers. This is a case of 25 pounds of cucumbers. It's 18 bucks. So if you guys could find organic cucumbers for around $1 a pound near you, that's a good solid price, because this is the wholesale price. Most of these guys will get juiced. I'm not a big fan of the bitter skin of the standard market mark cucumbers. All right, last few things coming out the car. We got 2 cases of these guys. Actually, this is another spendy item that I bought. One case was 34 bucks, but this is definitely worth it. Look at this. John, those are potatoes, man. You eat potatoes. Well, I'd rather eat purple potatoes than organic Cavendish bananas. Well, these are also organic purple potatoes here. I got 2 cases of potatoes. I mean, these cases, man, they must weigh like around 50 pounds each. These are nice and dense. I only like to eat purple potatoes and only recommend you guys do so as well. Standard russets could raise up your blood sugar, may not be so healthy for you. I mean, it's still healthy compared to all other processed foods, but purple potatoes will actually be beneficial for your blood sugar, make it go the opposite direction. Plus, it can be good in resistant starch. Very important. Plus, it has one of my favorite plant phytonutrients known as anthocyanins that I believe to be anti-aging and protective against disease. And a lot of people on a raw foods diet don't eat an anthocyanin rich diet. They eat an anthocyanin poor diet by eating, you know, bananas, dates, and romaine lettuce, right? Anthocyanin poor. I want you guys to eat your purple and blue foods. I try to include as many purple and blue foods as I possibly can, including the purple sweet potatoes. This is definitely under $1 a pound, and actually these are very difficult to find. I can't even find these in my city. Even if I drove to all the health food stores, nobody's selling organic purple potatoes. And if they did, it'd be around like $3 a pound probably. And then if you cut them open, they might be like very light purple on the inside. These are deep, rich purple black. So I'm like, before I bought them, I'm like, what do they look like on the inside? They got cracked one open. I'm like, man, that's black. I'm like, I want 2 cases. So for me personally, I believe that by steaming these and eating them plain, no salt, no sugar, no oil on them, I'm gonna be healthy because of it. I think the reason why a lot of heat processed foods or cooked foods, if you want to say that, are bad because of everything else they add on to it. I eat a very simplistic style diet. Even if I heat process my foods, I eat them plain. They don't need any seasonings on there. Actually, last night I ate these with some Fuerte avocados, which are actually really buttery, and they're amazing. So raw Fuertes with heat processed purple potatoes for the win. We got this whole flat right here, and this is a flat all from the farmer's market actually. These are all blood oranges here, and the reason why I like blood oranges, once again, they're anthocyanin rich. They're also not quite as sweet. These tend to be, could be riper. These ones are a little bit more riper. You can see these are different kind of blood orange. They're not getting red on the outside, but they're getting a bit wrinkly on the outside from a different farmer. These are from the farmer's market. Also, I got my Fuerte avocados from the farmer's market. This is from the Torrance farmer's market. A little bag, 10 avocados or something, like super cheap. Actually, it was maybe $4. But these are really good avocados. These are like my favorite. Avocados are nice and buttery and really rich. And check this out, guys. I got some Chermoya. So yeah, man, I got a couple Chermoyas. They're $5 a pound, but the guy's like, oh, these are really ripe. If you buy 1 pound, I'll give you 1 free. So that basically is effectively $2.50 per pound for Chermoya from the farmer's market. So I bought a bunch, and I'm glad I didn't buy too many because they're definitely not, they're really early Chermoyas. They could have been left on the tree longer to sweeten up a lot better. And my final score, I got 2 of these little cartons here. And look at this. This is money, this is food money can't buy since I got friends, which is really nice. And look at this. This is probably what I'd rather eat most out of like any of the fruits I got. These are purple, more wild style mulberries. These are really not that sweet, but they're nice and purple. They'll stain you. Actually, probably a good combo for this would be to juice some tangerines, then vacuum blend the tangerine juice with the mulberries to get the sweetness, plus the rich purple anthocyanins. It'd probably make it go over the top. But I want to encourage you guys, once again, eat your purple foods. I want you guys to have a phytonutrient and polyphenol rich diet, whatever your diet you're on. If you're on a raw vegan diet, plant-based diet, even eat, you know, omnivorish, I want you guys to include more highly colored and pigmented plant foods for the win. I think that's pretty much the end of what I got in my car for the produce. But the other thing I bought on this trip to LA, like I always do, is I bought a lot of plants. I bought 11 flats of plants, which is a lot of plants. So let's go ahead to the backyard and show you guys what plants I'll be growing this season in my garden, how I'm expanding the varieties of foods I'm growing by not just buying foods, which when you buy foods, you buy the food, you eat the food, it's gone. When I buy a plant start, I could harvest peppers off my plant start until like November and be eaten for months off one single investment. So I want to encourage you guys, gardening is the raw foods end game. If you grew your own garden and orchard of fruit trees, you wouldn't have to go to the store and buy food. You could have a lot higher quality food, the freshest food that's super ripe, super way more nutritious than just simply buying the store. At present time, you know, I grow a lot of my vegetables and buy a lot of my fruits as I show you guys. So besides the produce that I bought, I also go to LA to visit wholesale plant nurseries and buy wholesale plants, much higher quality than I could get here in my city. Plus they're also about half or a quarter as much as I could get in my city here. This trip I went to 3 nurseries, Toro Nursery in Torrance, United Plant Growers in Long Beach, and still my favorite, CPG in Norwalk, California. And you can see I got a number of plants here that are gonna feed me this upcoming season, some sooner rather than others. So we got a whole flat here of the red burgundy okra that makes a nice red okra, rich in anthocyanins. Next, of course, we got the basil. We got some standard Italian mixed with the purple basil. Once again, purple anthocyanins. Try to grow a lot of purple stuff. Next, we got some a whole flat of peppers. This is like 16 pimentino peppers. They're starting to flower already. And then I got 2 cases or 2 flats of the Japanese long eggplants. These guys are a bit smaller in 4-inch pots. The 4-inch pots are about $1 each, and these guys are around approximately $2 to $2.50 each. And the eggplants, you're like, these are purple eggplants, so once again they contain the anthocyanins. And the eggplants, while you could slice them thin and dehydrate them to eat them raw if you really want to, you know, I prefer to heat process them in the pressure cooker. Link down below if I remember to the video where I show how to heat process them. That way it allows me to eat more of the food that I grew myself, and I would much rather eat some, you know, steamed eggplants to get a greater diversity of foods, fibers, and anthocyanins and fibers into me, rather than, you know, cranking in like extra fruit calories. My goal these days is to eat a vegetable-based raw foods diet. I do that primarily through juicing. That's why a lot of the stuff I got will be juiced. But of course, I eat lots of fresh produce, whole and raw as well. What you guys can't see over here, also got some more peppers. These are actually candy cane peppers, so sounds like they're gonna be really good, but they just look really cool because they're variegated. And I got another really cool crop I'm gonna experiment with and try to get more of this into my diet. And I would recommend you guys also, this can be very hard to find. This is actually known as spilanthes. And you can eat these little flower buds and it just makes your mouth like tingle and kind of go crazy. But what many people don't know is that you could also eat the spilanthe leaves as well. So my primary purpose, although I could, you know, dry the flower buds and give those as gifts or give them to friends or trip them out when they come visit my garden. Hey, try this flower bud. And they're just gonna like, their mouth is gonna just be all weird. They're gonna trip out. But now since you're watching this, you'll know. I'm gonna eat the leaves, which will also probably give you that same sensation to a lesser degree. Actually, let's go ahead and try a leaf for you on the camera and tell you what it tastes like. Yeah, so it tastes like the flower bud, but more green. And I get a hint of that, like, it makes you want to make a lot of saliva. It's also called the toothache plant. That's good, actually. So hopefully this does really well, and I'll be incorporating this into my upcoming summer salad. Just a few leaves to kind of give it some extra zest, some extra spice. Plus also, like, they got some, you know, anthocyanin because they're kind of more purplish. And these should also do well in my heat in the garden in the summertime, because I have grown these in past years, but this year I'm going full tilt. I'm going to plant out a whole bed of 18 plants, so I should have lots of spilanthes to play with. So I want to share a few more flats of plants that I got with you guys this trip. Got another flat of eggplant. These are actually in 6 packs, much more cost affordable. These are mostly the Japanese long with 1 standard eggplant as well. They really do well in my garden. I'm expanding the amount of eggplants that I grow in my garden this year. I think last year I grew maybe like 2 beds full. This year I'm gonna have like maybe 3 to 4 beds full of eggplants. So we'll see if I get some creative ways to use them. Next we got a whole flat of the Epizote, which is like a Mexican herb. I will use this as a green. I kind of call it the gasolina plant because it like literally tastes so strong. Like, I don't know, people would say gasoline, but I never tasted gasoline myself. But I really love this plant. It is a fast bolter. So I want to just try to keep it like clipped back even when they get this big. We're just going to go ahead and pluck off the top and encourage like side shooting. And we'll eat this for you guys on the camera. Like, plants have so many amazing flavors, and all these flavors are different phytonutrients. After eating the spilanthes, actually this really tastes mild. This tastes like goosefoot. Yeah, tastes really mild. I'm not tasting super hardcore. But yeah, this also will reseed on its own, and then probably like next year, because I got 18 plants this year, they're just gonna start popping up everywhere, which I welcome, because it's just another food source. And once again, it's diversifying my diet. This is another thing that many raw foodists don't really talk about, is diversifying your diet. If you go to the grocery store, they might have 100 varieties of maybe organic produce that you could buy if you get only organic. If you get the non-organic and go to an Asian market, maybe you got like 200-300 varieties. But man, if you grow your own, it's unlimited how many different varieties and different plants you guys can grow and eat. And they, in my opinion, they all have beneficial compounds. Some plants are better researched than others. All right, next plants back here. For the summer garden in the heat, we got some Georgia Collards, which I know does well in the heat of Florida in the summer. So we're gonna try it in the heat here. Also got some dinosaur kale mostly, which is definitely the best performing kale for the hot summer for me in my climate. And then in the back, we got some heirloom Armenian cucumbers that we're gonna plant out against my trellis wall. And that's the best performing cucumbers for the heat here, the Armenians, rather than like the Japanese or lemons that I used to grow in California. So those are all the plant starts, 11 flats. I fit all this plus all that food in my car. I'm like the pack master. It's always fun and a good challenge. It's like real life Tetris for me. Now the last thing I want to do is maybe we'll just hand cam it around, give you guys a quick shot of what's in my garden, what's growing in my garden right now, so you guys have another idea of what I'm eating this time of year, when I'm planting this time of year, so that I'll be harvesting, because, you know, to me, this is my lifestyle. You know, I'm not gonna say that my life is easy. You know, I gotta drive the terminal, I gotta get the produce, and I gotta store the produce. I'm working on sorting the produce, getting some of it, a lot of it juiced, if there's any bad stuff, so I'll have it prepared. I'm running out of fridge space because my fridges are so full, then I gotta store some out of the fridge and transition it into the fridge, and you know, it's a lot of work, guys, but this is what I enjoy and love to do, and I encourage you guys to, you know, if you hate eating raw foods, dude, do something that's gonna make you feel happy, but then be aware that there will be consequences to whatever you choose to do in life. But yeah, I really love my gardening, raw foods, juicing lifestyle, and I would not do anything else. I mean, I almost lost my life. That's why I'm so serious about what I do and taking it to the next level, to grow high quality food, to convert my whole backyard, and to go out of my way to visit farmers markets and source some of the best food that I could possibly get in my area. Right, I'm gonna give you guys a hand cam of my garden. Here's all the plants we were just looking at: eggplants, epizote, kale and collard greens, and the Armenian cucumber babies. This is my perennial purple tree collard. This is actually faux tea. It just like totally takes over the whole place. Here's my kale bed. It's kind of getting to the end. Here's some green cauliflower that I need to harvest today and eat before it bolts too bad. I'll eat that raw, just like in a dip. Oh, and here's another green cauliflower. Green cauliflower is one of the best cauliflowers you guys could buy and eat or grow, aside from the purple one. So the purple is the best, green second best. Here's a bed that I basically have prepared and staked out. So I'm planting every pepper 13 inches. And actually here's all the peppers I'm planting, plus some of the ones that I just picked up. So there'll be like a lot of peppers in this bed for my upcoming season. Oh, look at this. Here's some nice purple flowering broccoli / cauliflower. It was labeled cauliflower, but it looks kind of like more broccoli-ish to me. But then all these leaves you guys see, like these are the leaves that I'll be juicing, like the cauliflower leaves, any kind of big leaves in here. These will get juiced with that romaine that you guys saw a little bit earlier, right? And then any kind of smaller leaves, generally I'll dry them into like kale chips or dehydrate them. Over on this bed over here, we got a whole bunch of snap peas that I need to harvest and eat. These are kind of like getting too mature. Some of these are still really nice. So maybe I'll harvest some of these today and eat those raw with a dip with that green cauliflower you guys saw. Down below here, I have my own homegrown lettuce, which is better than the store-bought lettuce. These are way better, way healthier. If you see, a lot of them are like, you know, have some kind of purplish, reddish tinge to it. Oh, look, I'm glad my basil that I just planted before the trip is doing quite well. Busting out my purple basil, standard Italian basil. These are gonna do really well over the summer. I got flowers to eat, edible flowers. I want to encourage you guys to eat some edible flowers. These ones here are the dianthus, and look how pretty they look. They are edible. These are the pansies, also edible. Over here we got some calendulas, which you could also eat, and also some marigolds, which are also edible, rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, good for your eyes. You guys can see here, just I have this whole trellis. This is where the cucumber is going to get planted in, you know, over time, and a lot more lettuce too going on. Catmint, here's some red lettuce that'll probably get harvested today and juiced up. Back here, once again, more lettuce. I mean, look at that lettuce. That's nice and vibrant, not like the stuff I buy at the store, but hey, it's all good. Over here, we got some longevity spinach in the garden. Here's some overwinter basil known as green pepper basil. We got my own dill over there, and of course I grow some fruits too. This tree needs some water actually. Got lots of kumquats there. This bed I have unlimited, like Swiss chard. Hey, you guys like Swiss chard? Come on over. I'll give you some. I grow a lot of Swiss chard. I'll juice it and use it and eat it raw and cook some of it steamed, but I grow way more than I need. I like the red ones because they got the red stems, got the rich in betalains. Over here we got a couple of different kinds of mint growing in some pots, which is really good. And then of course I got my famous green tree collards that are like 12 feet tall, produces green edible leaves year round to eat. On to the other side of the garden here. Over in this bed we got more edible flowers. These are Nasturtium flowers that I love, and also you could eat the Nasturtium leaves. They make like really good dolma style wraps. You could like, and they're nice and spicy. So I like that a lot. Here's a bed of peppers that I just planted. It's like 18 peppers, plus we got one roselle or like hibiscus plant with the edible leaves there. Over on this side we got all my parsley, so I have unlimited parsley. Whenever I want to eat parsley, I don't need to buy it at the store. I just come out here and harvest it and eat it. This bed we have basically unlimited mint. This is the time of year I love to pop off the tops of the mint and blend it up with maybe some because I got the tangerines. I'll blend it with tangerines, the mint, and some berries into a smoothie. Maybe even put some greens in here. I also have leeks I'm growing. Here's another bed of peppers, growing mostly sweet banana peppers. Here's some unique varieties of mint. Over here we got more red lettuce, late season planted. Another bed of peppers. Over here, here's another bed that's kind of duplicated from my kale bed. Just lots more like cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts. And of course, here's all the baby plants. Give you guys some close-ups. It's the red burgundy okra over here. I love this basil mix and the peppers and those eggplants right over there. And then here's the candy cane peppers, CPG Nursery. And then here's the spilanthes. Look at those spilanthes. I love those guys. Yeah, you could eat the flower buds. You could put that in salads actually. That'll give you a nice zinger in your mouth there. Spilanthes. Over on this side of my garden, I basically got like all these fruit trees, mostly fig trees, growing all in these pots here. I have bolting cilantro, so you could eat the cilantro flowers, and all the leaves are edible. I just been basically hacking tops off and just juicing it all up. Over here, I got some catnip or catmint, also edible, and this actually is a pretty rare black goji berry plant. I got 2 of them that survived. Several of them did not survive over the winter time. And then here we got a whole bunch of green onions. I want you guys to encourage you guys to eat your onions, and the green onions, and especially the shallots, the greens, not necessarily the bulbs, are definitely the healthiest to eat. Going back in my garden even further, once again, got a few celery plants here, and then this bed has mostly peppers. This bed has all my tomatoes. It's partly shaded right now. You guys can see, but yeah, these tomatoes are the indigo rose tomatoes, so they're kind of like nice and purple, and that was like, I did that purposely, purple tomatoes. Here's my basil bed, planted like about a month ago now, coming out. I'll be harvesting lots of basil soon. Here's a bed like my other bed on the back side, pretty much duplicated. Has a celtuce, the lettuce grown for the stem. Also more of the Swiss chard, some lettuce in the middle that I need to harvest as well. And I already had harvested back the red boar kale that did not perform too well. In the back over here, I got a whole bed of the beets. I usually mostly use these for the beet greens. So you guys can see they're really deep, rich, and purple. And then this bed just kind of has some of the basil growing down below, which is desired, and then undesired, but I let grow, is the dandelions, and there's also some kind of like lemon balm growing in there as well. And then this back bed looks overgrown, but it's all edible. I got some actually pink celery. If you look, there's the pink celery stem there. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera. Pink celery. And then once again, like, I'm really not eating enough green onions. They're all flowering. I should be harvesting more of those. And yeah, you could eat the flowers too. Then along the back side, we got, you know, once again, more sugar snap peas. They need to come back and harvest. It's been warming up too much, and the sugar snap peas are on their way out. These peas are a little bit more mature, so I don't know. I've never tried to steam them, so I'm probably gonna try to steam them. Of course, you know, if you want the ripest citrus, guys, grow it yourself. And we got some Meyer Lemons that I'm letting hang on the tree here for super long. and they're almost ripe. They need to be a bit softer. But I mean, most people will like, oh, the lemons are yellow, harvest them. I wait until they're like super soft, and then, you know, I'll juice them, skin and all, and rind. They are so delicious. We got spinach here, and that's coming out soon. That'll get replanted. It's a lot of leaves are turning yellow because of the heat. And I got a huge bed of rosemary, basically unlimited rosemary to eat. I end up juicing, you know, like a sprig every here and there. For flavor, actually, that might be good with the pineapple, grapefruit, rosemary, tangerine juice. And then this bed is kind of going nuts crazy. It's like totally bolting. And this is just like Asian greens, mustard greens, endive, stuff like that. And basically, this has to get basically pulled and then replanted as well. No, and then I got the Hoja Santa right here coming out, sprouting up. Oh, and you guys see that? That's a little baby ladybug. It's a ladybug larvae after they hatch, and they eat their bugs and they turn into the beautiful ladybug. All right, so that's pretty much it for what I bought this month and what's growing in my garden this month. And you're like, John, I can't do it. You do, man. You got a full garden. You go out and buy food. You know, here's the thing, guys. I want you guys to be committed or not committed as much as you want. You know, I believe that the results you put in, the effort you put in to eating healthfully will pay you off in the future. Plus, I happen to love all the things that I love going to the produce terminal and finding the best deals on organic produce for the lowest prices, haggling and bargaining with the people to get better deals, and finding food that I couldn't otherwise find in my city, like those pearl potatoes, or even like the Chermoya from the farmer's market, or like actually ripe quality citrus fruits. And then also I love going to the plant nurseries and finding the plants and getting the healthiest plants to grow in my garden, transporting them, playing Tetris in my car and bringing them back, and then growing the food so that I can eat it. And then more importantly, I love sharing with you guys what I'm doing in my life to show you guys what is possible if you want to do it, right? You don't have to do all this. You can just go to the grocery store every week and buy fruits and vegetables and eat them. Don't cook them. You could juice them. You could vacuum blend them if you want. You don't even got to do none of that stuff, right? But once again, you know, I really dialed in my diet for me specifically. And I like to share with you guys, in case you guys are wondering, what did this guy, crazy guy, John Collard, do to be so vibrant, be so healthy? And it's eating fruits and vegetables, dominant portion of my diet, overwhelming majority raw, including certain amounts of heat processed foods, done usually in the Instant Pot, cooked in water only with no additives, no flavors, just plain straight up. And then also, more importantly, having higher quality food, growing my own garden so I could have access to nutrients that I wouldn't otherwise have. I think by doing all these things, you are more likely to be successful than if you're just eating conventional food out of the grocery store and eating all these pesticide-ridden products. But hey, if you guys are into pesticide-ridden products, you probably didn't make it to this video to the end. So I congratulate you guys for making it to the end. If you guys made it to the end, hey, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And be sure to share this video with somebody else you think it could help. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. Get this video out to more people, because my raw foods channel doesn't get a lot of views compared to some newer, maybe better looking raw foodists than I am. But you know, I sure as hell, I believe I have some of the best information on raw foods out there. And I'm glad to still have a voice and share this message with you guys so that I can show you guys what is possible and what you might want to aspire to or not. You're like, man, that dude John is crazy. I'm not doing none of that. Well, don't do it then, man. I don't really care. But I love what I'm doing. I'm going to keep doing it. Also, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below. Make sure you click the little bell to get notified as my new videos come out. I have new videos coming out every 5 to 7 days, and I wouldn't want you to miss an episode, because you never know the information that you could get in it that will change your life. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 700 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel, dedicated to teach you guys all about how to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables so that you guys can get healthier. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.